Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So for today's video, I want to talk about Disney dolls, which I know is not something that happens the most frequently on this channel, but Mattel is releasing some new collector Disney dolls, the Once Upon a Whimsy collection. And unfortunately for all of you, I can't just keep my thoughts inside. I really considered it. I thought about not making this video, but then I just thought, why wouldn't I? Like, why not share my unsolicited thoughts with the world? So, we're going to be discussing this collection. It is definitely a very different collection, and I feel like it already has a lot of people like having divisive opinions about it. So, I mean, the typical disclaimer, these are just my opinions. It's fine if you disagree. I'm going to be pretty critical of these dolls, but if you absolutely adore them, that is fabulous. I hope that they're within your budget and you can have them and like they just make you so happy. So it's not a big deal. You're absolutely free to disagree. Just do please be polite about it if you want to express that down below. But yeah, let's just get into it. Like I don't have an intro. Like I just am so baffled by these. I have to talk about them. So we are going to go from what I think is the best executed to what I think is the worst executed. Again, that is like a completely subjective thing, but that's how we're going to organize it. So the order we're going to be going in, there are three dolls to talk about today is Belle, Ariel, and then Tiana. So before I even get into anything, if you want like the details for these, I think as of time of this video going up, when am I posting this? They should be available on Mattel Creations at this point. They're 80 US dollars. Those are like the basic facts. I'm not here for facts today. Okay, we're here for opinions. These dolls are definitely a lot more like campy than we usually get from Disney collector dolls, whether that's like from Disney specifically or whoever like they might be licensing through. And the like extra disclaimer that I need to give on top of the like, hey, these are just my opinions thing. I don't really get camp. Like you can define it for me. I can read the definition and I can see that. I don't understand it though. Like I just am not a fan of it is maybe a better way to put it. I don't get the point of camp. I very, very rarely see something that people are like, oh my God, that's so camp, and not think, no, that's just ugly. So that's my bias. That's where we're starting off. If you love the concept of camp, you probably like these dolls more. And again, that's fine. If you think that I'm just like uncultured for not understanding camp, that's also fine because you're right. I am pretty uncultured. So like I just wanted to say that right off the get-go because I don't want to get a bunch of comments being like, it's camp, you just don't get it. Yeah, no shit, I don't get it. Like I'm still gonna give my opinion because I can't be stopped. Anyway, we're gonna start off with Belle. So we're gonna look at like the full dress situation here first. The reason that I like this doll the best is not because I think that she is like the prettiest to me. I just think that she pulls off the campiness the best, if that makes sense. Like if you were to say, hey, which of these dolls do you think is like aesthetically the most pleasing? I'd say Ariel. But if I'm looking at which doll I think has successfully been like campified, I would say Belle. So she does still have like the off the shoulder yellow, like referencing her ball gown, like the outfit that you think of when you think of Belle. But she, as a whole, is a lot more referential to Chip and Mrs. Potts in like the cutlery and all that jazz. So the bottom of her dress, I think, is meant to evoke like plates and teacups sort of precariously balanced. It's iffy. I don't think it's perfect. I definitely think that like there was probably a way to layer this to make it look more clearly like, oh, here's a plate on the bottom and here's a cup and here's another cup on top of it. So it's not like perfect to me, but I do understand what they're going for. Like I can look at it and in an instant I can be like, oh, that's what that is referencing. So I do appreciate that. And the thing that I think ties it together and makes it the most camp for me, again, I do think this is an ugly doll. Like I'm just gonna say that. I think that all three of these are pretty iffy, and I don't really think that this is a cute doll. But I understand the campiness when we zoom into her face, which, like, side note, I should say, the face is gorgeous. Like, the base doll, fine, but, like, the overall design, good God. But she's wearing a, like, headpiece that is a tea plate. Tea plate feels like such a weird, like, teacup or teapot wants to come out of my mouth. Tea plate doesn't roll off the tongue. Anyway, with a cup, maybe it is literally Chip. I don't see the face on there, so I'm just going to go with a cup, but it's definitely referencing Chip. And then she's got some of her hair that is like drawn up through the headpiece and is spilling out into like this little curl. And especially because she does have brown hair, it does feel quite referential to like, oh, her hair is literally the tea pouring out of this cup. So, like, I get it. Again, I don't like it, but I understand the concept that we're going for. The shoes are, they just are shoes. Like, we've got the little object heel. We're getting a little bit of like monster highification of the Disney doll here. The shoes are, to me, like inoffensive. I do think it's kind of fun. I will say I don't think it connects to the theme as well. Like, instead of the shoes being something that is helping to tie together the illusion, it's just like, here's the illusion of the dress and her hair. Shoes are completely separate. Like, these shoes, I feel like you could see on like a regular Belle doll, or like a less themed Belle doll, or even like an ILY doll. I don't know. Like, the shoes are very disconnected to the rest for me. So that's what they look like. I don't think they're bad shoes, but I just don't get it. But I don't really get any of this. So that's Belle. Those are basically all the thoughts that I have on Belle. Again, like, the best that I can give is that I understand the theming with this. Like, I understand what they were trying to do. And I do think that while it's not to my personal taste, it has been executed fairly successfully. With that, let's move on to Ariel, because we're going to get some more critiques in there. So this is what Ariel looks like. And again, I do think that she is aesthetically my favorite of the three. That doesn't mean I think she's pretty. Like, I'm going to keep it real. I still think that this is like not a pretty design for my personal taste, but I think that she's the most aesthetically pleasing if I have to pick one. However, I have a lot of issues. My first issue is just the theme in general. I feel like this is not enough or interesting enough to feel as camp as Belle. Like, you look at Belle and it's like she is dressed up as all of these like tea set pieces with her hair being tea. Like, that is such a weird concept, like an inherently camp concept to me. This doll seems like it's very referential of like the thing with her arms is like a seashell sort of situation. It's kind of giving like that one famous painting of Venus. I'm absolutely, I think it's called The Birth of Venus, but I'm losing who painted it. Oh well. But even if it's not that, it might just be like referencing like the seashell mermaid thing. Like, I know there's a point where like I think she is either in a shell in the movie or is like supposed to come out of a shell in the movie. It's just so on the nose to me. I think, like, obviously when you think of mermaids, you're going to think of seashells. When you think of Belle, you probably do think of like the companions, like the tea set, again, Chip and Mrs. Potts, but you don't immediately associate Belle herself with like tea. That's not like the number one thing. I think that the Belle was a good concept, at least because it's tying together both the princess and like these very recognizable side characters sort of into one conglomeration. Like, it makes sense. Whereas Ariel, I just feel like it's lacking that element of creativity. And like, that's not meant to sound mean. I'm just being honest. Like, of course, mermaid, seashell, it's not something that's weird or different or innovative. Like, if you think of Belle, you might automatically think of the rose or books. Like, that sort of thing is like immediately associated with Belle. Whereas I feel like the teapot situation is like one step removed from Belle. So it still makes sense for her to have that be a thematic thing within this very campy, like weird line. But it's not so in your face, like, oh, that was the obvious choice to do. Do I think that objectively speaking, a doll that is themed around roses or books might look better or like be more appealing to me personally? Yes. But for the theme they're trying to execute, I just think that what they did with Belle makes sense. Whereas with Ariel, it's like you couldn't do anything else besides the seashell, besides like the same theme that she always gets. Like, even to the point where one of the, I think it was the Ultimate Princess Celebration. I think that's what that line was called. I'll put a picture in here. But there's already been a collector Ariel doll that felt like it was quite reminiscent of that Birth of Venus. And so it's like, this just feels like that, but not as good and like weirder. I don't know. It just seems so easy. It just seems like the very first thing that came out of someone's mouth in the like brainstorming portion was, oh, seashells. Okay, we'll go with that. And like didn't take it any further. And it bothers me because I feel like Ariel especially has so many things that could be really interesting. Like if you're gonna theme Belle around teacups, you could theme Ariel around the Dinglehopper, right? Or like just her like treasure huntiness in general, like the things that she collects, the way she's so fascinated with humankind. I still think that's like slightly more obvious than Belle and the teacups, but at least it's not literally so obvious as mermaid seashell. Like it just is, it's just killing me that it feels like there was so little effort put into the concept for Ariel. And then what bothers me more is that I don't think the execution is very good. Hi, Miss Weesey. Come here. Come here, baby. Yes, good girl. She's like, I heard you were ranting and I thought maybe you needed something nice to think about. You're such a sweet baby. Oh my goodness. I love you so much. Anyway, like the way that the seashell is technically sleeves, I think is a fun concept. Like if we're removing the, I think that the seashell was boring to begin with, I think that's a fun way to execute it. But something, at least in the stock photo, in the way that it's structured, it kind of feels like if you're going to go so far as to make a garment this structured, which I understand does take more skill than just like a simple circle skirt, for example. Like I get it, but structure it better. Like it just is so like lumpy is maybe a good word. It sounds really mean, but lumpy, and it's just a circle realistically. Like I'm saying seashell because it's Ariel and so my brain connects it, but it's not obviously a seashell. I feel like there's just a better way to have done this. Elephant in the room perhaps is the fact that she's in another mermaid dress. And I feel like everyone is sort of like, can we please have Ariel be in literally anything else? Can we please have a mermaid character not be in a mermaid dress for once, especially for a line that is openly just strange by concept. Like that's the point of the line, is that this isn't their typical looks by a long shot. You're still gonna give Ariel a like bluish teal mermaid dress. Okay. And it's not even like a super exaggerated dress. Like if you're going to go with a basic silhouette for a mermaid character and a basic theme for a mermaid character, you'd think that for a more campy design, you'd at least make it extremely exaggerated. Maybe she's got like a lot more padding in the hips and then like the fins flare out really wide. So instead of it being like a mermaid dress, it's like a mermaid dress, you know, like not that that's exactly what I would have wanted to see. I don't know what I would have wanted to see, but like at least that would be different. At least that would make this mermaid dress stand out amongst the other mermaid dresses that she and like other mermaid characters are constantly put into. This is straight up just like a boring mermaid dress. It's not even that it's ugly, but it's just like, that's it? That's all you're giving us? Okay. And then if we take a look at her more close up, she's got this like bubble ponytail sort of situation going on. And I don't know. I literally don't know. Like it just feels so, again, mermaid bubbles. Like there's not a lot of thought process, it feels like. Like it doesn't feel like there's anything to get. Like with the Belle doll, it's easy, it's recognizable, but there's something there to get. There's nothing to get with this. It's just a weird mermaid doll. I don't know. I feel like if you're going to go with, oh, mermaid bubble, let's do a bubble ponytail, make it fucking obnoxious. Make these bubbles absolutely huge. Like do something other than just, let's give her basically Jasmine's hairstyle, like minus the front portion. Like if you want her hair to be referential of bubbles, make it really, really big. Make it really intense. Like this middling situation is just so nothing to me. And then the shoes too. I mean, I think I said already, I don't know. It's hard to tell when I start ranting what I've already said. Sorry. But like all of the shoes do feel very disconnected across the board in this line. These to me feel like the worst offender because straight up, these belong on every mermaid doll ever. Even Laguna, she's not even a mermaid. She's just a sea monster. She would wear these shoes. Like there's nothing Ariel or unique about these shoes. That is not to say they're ugly. I do think that they are a very pretty design, and the clamshell heel with like the pearl in there, it's good. I like these shoes. But for the theme that they are trying to execute, this is nothing. This is nothing. Then I get to move on to Tiana. So far, just to like recap, Belle, to me, ugly, but like, I get it. I get the campiness. Ariel, to me, not like hideous, but really basic. Tiana, I unfortunately think is like sort of basic and also ugly. And what sucks more about having to say that is that, like, you'll see once we get to the close-up picture of her face and her hair and everything, I actually think the base doll for this Tiana is stunning. Like, the makeup that they've chosen for her is so, so pretty. So it hurts my heart to have to be like, this is ugly. Okay. So once again, we're going the Ariel route of things, and this is like such an obvious choice to do. It's lily pads. The frog is lily pad themed. What a novel concept. Reese, you are being so adorable. It's like making it hard to be mad. She's so stinking cute. Oh, my baby. My baby. But like, again, it's not even that I don't think that's a fun concept. And I will say that inherently, I think it's a little bit less used than like the mermaid seashell, because the mermaid seashell thing isn't a unique problem to Ariel. Like, that's just a thing. Whereas, in all fairness, where else are you going to find a lily pad themed dress? But it's just like, duh, it's right there. Like, it doesn't have that extra step of like quirkiness that I feel like Belle's had. Y'all will have to let me know if that's crazy, if like I'm weird for thinking that. But it's just, I would have rather seen like an alligator reference could have been cool, or especially like lightning bug. Like if she was themed around lightning bug, I feel like Ray and Evangeline is such a memorable part of that movie. That's like a step removed from Tiana, but still very noticeably and like referentially Tiana. If her whole thing was like stars and fireflies, you would get it. Like you would immediately be like, yeah, duh, that's Princess and the Frog. Like that's a big deal. But like, it's not frog lily pad, you know, it's not like right there. Or even I would have been kind of cool for any of these high key to like theme it a little bit more with the villain, like maybe going a little bit more on the creepy side of things could have been fun. Like I understand maybe why they didn't do that, but like there's so many other options, and then to execute it like this just feels, to me, I don't like it. I just don't like it. Like, I don't really know what else to say. The lily pad is very obvious at the bottom of her dress. And even like the bottom portion of the flower, like the brightest pink part, I'm like, that's a flower on a lily pad. Like, that makes sense. The lily pad hairpiece, like, that all makes sense. But the middle portion is really losing me. She's got like these purple trailing pieces off of her gloves that are like willow tendrils, is kind of what it's giving me. I don't know if it's like literally willow, but it is giving like, you know, like swampy, like greenery, that sort of thing, which isn't not thematic. But if the rest of the outfit is supposed to be lily pad specifically, and then you're randomly throwing in this other plant, it's like, okay, at that point you need her to just be swamp themed. And in that case, I feel like you could have gone with like a much darker and more interesting colorway than like this bright purpley pink situation, because they're trying to just reference the flower on the lily pad. Like her whole dress is like, oh, this is the whole flower. But then if she's got, I'm just going to call it willow pieces. It's fine if I'm wrong. The point still stands. Willow pieces on her arms. So then it's like, okay, well, now I want to see a lot of other swampy things with her instead of just the lily pad design. And I want it to be dingy and dirty. And like for most of the movie, it feels like the swamp is something that they're trying to like escape and conquer. And like, yes, there are good moments in the swamp. I'm not trying to take away from that. But it sure would be more interesting if it was like a little dingier. I don't know. It's just so, and like there's this patterning on her dress that feels like it's trying to be Art Deco, which again, it's not that that doesn't fit for Tiana. Like that is like the sort of time period. And we've had other Tiana dolls that reference Art Deco style in a very successful way. But it's just, the theming to me is confusing at this point, because now it's like, generally swamp, but specifically lily pad, but also Art Deco. I need you to pick a lane. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be thinking here. Like, I don't know what the most important part of her theme is because she's got several competing themes. And that just really bothers me. And then looking at her face, again, her face is so beautiful. I don't know what was going on with the hair here. Like, I really, truly don't know. I know a lot of people on Instagram have compared it to like the Who's in Whoville from like the Grinch and shit. And that is what I'm seeing. And it really is frustrating to me too, because Tiana is the only Black Disney princess. And I feel like Black people can be so like creative with their hairstyles. Like, I see so many people on TikTok that I'm just in awe of the things that they can do with their hair, or even like sculpting extensions. Like, I have seen people do stuff like this, but not in this way. Like, this just looks dumb. And it feels like there's so many opportunities, like, because this isn't supposed to be movie accurate. I know in the movie she like doesn't necessarily have super like coily hair, or if she does, she like styles it down right. But this obviously isn't movie accurate. So I feel like it would have been more interesting if they did something with braids, or even just letting her have natural coils and have those be shaped. Because I think I've talked here before about like I've seen people style like Afro puffs into like star shapes or heart shapes. And like that's such a cool thing that you can really only accomplish if you have that hair texture. She's right there. Like, do something with that that is unique to her, not just this like, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. I literally have no idea what these three random little twirlies are supposed to represent. It just doesn't make sense. I do like the two little curls like coming down. I think that's cute. But everything on top, I have no idea what they were thinking. Like, I have no idea what that is supposed to be or what it's supposed to be accomplishing. I don't get it. And then her shoes bother me because, again, they do just feel like vaguely disconnected. Like, if you're trying to give the illusion that this entire doll is the lily pad and is the flower on the lily pad, why are there flowers underneath the pad of the lily? I understand I'm being an asshole. Like, I understand I'm being really nitpicky, but it's just, I don't know. It just bothers me. But these especially irritate me because, like, the sculpting is nice. The other shoes at least feel like they would be interesting playline shoes. I feel like this is not that far off what you would get of like a cheap Barbie. Like, not quite fashionista, maybe like earlier fashionista. There is like extra molding on like the toe. If you took away that molding, these would be cheap ass playline Barbie shoes. So it's both, to me, disconnected and doesn't make sense with the theme, and also it's not as interesting as the other two shoes that we got. There's not even as much painted detail on here. Like, Ariel's shoes and Belle's shoes had a decent chunk of painted detail. There's like barely anything on here. I just don't really get it. So overall, I understand that this line was not for me. Okay, I do get that. I get that I'm not the target audience inherently, because like, I just don't understand, and I tend to not like campy shit. But I think it's frustrating because this, at least from my point of view, doesn't even feel like well executed campy shit. It's just like, this feels a lot more like using camp as an excuse to produce dolls that are like a little bit questionable aesthetically and like don't necessarily have the strongest theming, and you can't critique it, or like you can't like argue because it's camp, and like you just don't get it because it's camp. And like, I know on some level that that could be true, but I also do feel like maybe it's not true, and maybe these actually aren't that great even within the field of camp. I don't know if that's controversial, but those are my thoughts. Yeah, would love to hear yours. Again, I know I realistically have no business making this video as someone who doesn't collect Disney dolls and doesn't understand camp. Like, why am I even here? I just can't not talk about it. Okay, I saw these on Instagram and I just had so many thoughts, and I've been talking with some of y'all in the DMs and like some other doll tubers in the DMs about these, and I just like, I had to make a video. I had to give my opinions because that's just how I am. But I would definitely love to hear your thoughts down below, especially if you are someone who generally does like camp, because again, as I've said like 1,002 times at this point, I'm coming at this from the perspective of someone who doesn't get why you would theme the dolls like that to begin with. So I'm very curious to see, for people who genuinely like stuff that's camp, are my critiques valid, or am I just like not in that world? I don't know. Would love to hear it, but that's all I have to say today. Thank you for listening to me rant. I hope it was entertaining for you, whether or not you agreed with me, but I'm going to go now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye guys.